part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Before we get to today's episode, I want to take a few minutes to tell you about our presenting sponsor, Aligned Health Center. Aligned Health Center is the first chiropractic biophysics clinic in Northern Ohio, serving patients in Westlake. The team at Aligned Health Center helps patients with back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and so much more. The mission at Aligned Health Center is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. They know what it's like to have constant neck and back pain, and it's no fun. And they're here to help you. And as a special offer for the Calves on the Break listeners, Aligned Health Center is offering a free exam to our incredible fans. That's right, you heard us correctly. A free exam at no cost just for you. Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-230-6865 or visit their website at alignedhealthcenters.com to make an appointment and to learn more about how Aligned Health Center can help you. Mention Calves at checkout to receive your free offer. Again, that's 440-230-6865 or visit alignedhealthcenters.com today. Now, let's get to the show.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Calves on the Break, NBA podcast for the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, he's the NBA writer for hoopswire.com, assistant managing editor at outkick.com. He's our Cavs insider, national NBA writer, Sam Amico. Sam, it's good to see you, man.
Gentlemen, great to see you as well.
Yeah. Also with us, he's with us all season long when I'm hosting every other week here, Jeremy and Akron. Jay, we go way back, and it's good to have you on Calves on the Break, man.
I'll tell you what, it's great to be here with two legends in this industry right now. It's amazing. It's every time I feel blessed every time I get to come on the show with you guys.
Hashtag blessed. There it is. Well, Sam, if you could just humor us just for one moment. We were talking pre-show while Sam was getting his internet figured out. You know, Sam is in the 50+ crowd, so we got to give him a little bit more time to work on this stuff.
You're lucky I don't do this show via chisel and granite.
Smoke signals. We do smoke signals.
Well, Jeremy was talking to me pre-show, and it just is perfect to bring back one of a fan favorite. The very first thing we did in our very first show was we did this segment called 5 Hot Minutes with Jeremy and Akron. And what Jeremy was telling me was just perfect for a 5 hot minutes. Now, Sam, how this works is we just let Jeremy talk for 5 minutes and we don't say a word until he's like, and that's all. He says something. I don't remember what he says. He just throws it back to us, and that's it. So no matter how absurd or how wrong or how crazy or how mean it is, we just let him go, Sam. All right.
I'm good with that. Do I still get paid? No, I'm just kidding.
I guess, Jay, this is about the Cavs. And ladies and gentlemen, returning with one of a classic segment from the vault, 5 Hot Minutes with Jeremy and Akron. Jeremy, go.
So let me start this was maybe the greatest deal in the history of pro sports. Okay. The Cavs last year during the pandemic, when they only were allowed to have like 3,500 people, introduced a monthly pass special where you could buy a pass that guaranteed you entry into the game. Didn't guarantee an exact seat, but guaranteed you entry into the game. You could get lower level passes for $89.99, upper level passes for $49.99. So I started buying 2 of them last year. Great deal. Got contacted by my ticket rep beginning of this year, said, we're doing it again, automatic renewal. You don't have to do anything. Just say yes, you're locked in, and we renew it every month. So obviously they weren't expecting the Cavs to be as good as they are this year. So first few months went great, same deal. Into February, I get an email from the Cavs that says, we regret to inform you that we are unenrolling you from the monthly pass program because there's going to be some changes for the last month of the year. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I keep reading. They go, the price will no longer be $89.99. It'll be $249.99 per ticket. And it won't include the Lakers game and the possibility in the future of us eliminating other premium games from the package. Okay. I understand. I get it. You know, supply and demand. There wasn't any demand for Cavs tickets going into the season. There is demand now. But the fact that they told us it was an automatic enrollee, if we locked in now, we'd be enrolled, we wouldn't have to do anything the rest of the year. And then at the last minute drop a triple in price. Now, I am fully aware, and I am admitting that this was probably one of the better deals in pro sports. You're guaranteed a ticket, club level down to every game for what came out to 10 or $15 a game, if you broke it down that way. However, the fact that they told us, there's no contract, I guess, but they told us enroll now. It automatically bills your card. You don't have to do anything else the rest of the year. And then at the last minute to change it like that, I think it's a little bit bush league. And trust me, look, I'm a business guy. I get it. I get how it all works. But the fact that they did that right now to fans who've been going to all the games, including last year when they were awful, and there was, you and a couple of your best friends in the stands, to do this at the last minute like this, I just thought was wrong. Now, it's not going to change my opinion of the Cavs. I still love the Cavs. I still think the front office is doing a great job. I just thought this particular move was a little bush league, a little wrong. I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, it doesn't set right with me at all, Jay. And it's not even my money. I'm just like, what the heck? That is messed up. Sam, what are your boys doing to us, Sam?
Yeah, that's tough to defend when you tell somebody that it's going to stay that way. Now, I could see if they had said this is subject to change, but the fact that they said that this is the way it's going to be, $89, $99 a month for, as long as you sign up for it now, and then to change it is.
Look, this team's been in the lottery. Cool. This team has been in the lottery for 5 straight seasons. If they started this last year, and these fans have went all last year, they ended up in the lottery, the 3 pick in the draft, to this year, finish the year out. There's like 2 months remaining in the regular season. What, goodwill or karma, or what are you trying to recoup these last 20 games by tripling the price? Jeremy, that's absurd.
Well, the thing that's really actually gets me is she said they automatically would bill your card the last day of the month. So you know what I mean? So it was you were there, you were set up, you had agreed to it. Unless you canceled on your own, they automatically billed your card. And they told me, I talked to them. Now, I don't have any of this in writing, but I talked to the rep, and she said, nope, that we're doing it no matter what. Don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything else the rest of the year. And then they get an email a couple of days before the next payment that says, oh, yeah, by the way, you have to re-enroll, click here. And it's $249.99 a ticket, which I still did it because I'm emotionally invested in the team with my son. I take my son to a bunch of the games. So I still did it.
So wait, then days before the new charge is going to hit, the higher price, they're like, oh, by the way, in 2 days, we're going to triple the price of this ticket.
Yeah, it was within a week. It was within a week of the re-up, because they actually said they just emptied everyone from the program. They didn't even tell you the prices went up. They just disenrolled everybody. You had to re-enroll in the program at the new price.
It wasn't going to automatically hit it.
No, it wasn't going to automatically, but they were kicking you out of a program that they told me for 100% sure was the rest of the year. And then also they changed, like I said, the premium games. So now there could be more premium games. I think they're going to keep the monthly pass going even in the next year, but they're going to pull out the premium games.
Yeah.
So you'll get the monthly pass for any, but when, the Bulls or, the Lakers or any of those
Sixers
come to town, you're not included. Yeah. So very interesting. But I do feel a little bit, like you said, it's a little bit, and I fully recognize it's a great deal. We're talking professional athletes, professional sports, a team that's 11 games over 500. I get all that, but it does feel a little betrayal when I literally was masked up, couldn't take off my mask in the bowl no matter what, all that stuff for a whole year, still went to the games, still paid, and then to be told a couple of days before, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, here you go. Very interesting.
Sam, that's not right. Sorry. I know you cover that's not right, Sam.
Well, don't get mad at me.
I'm not.
I agree with you. I don't know what to say other than it's not cool. I mean, if you had a commitment and these fans were there for the bad times when things start to get good, which is surprising to me, because when I obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Chase, I've been around a while. So I was covering them back in 2010 to 2014 before LeBron, when LeBron was in Miami. And then when LeBron came back, I remember asking the PR department, obviously a different department, but I said, am I getting moved out of my seat now that we're going to have? And they said, no, everybody who was here covering the team from 2010 to 14 and gets their same seats, regardless of, the ESPNs or the CBS Sports or whoever else is coming in. You guys got your seats. So I thought that was big, but this is just not.
Yeah,
it's not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's not a good PR look. And Jay, I saw them advertise that monthly plan, but I haven't seen anyone call them out for raising it and changing the plan. And we might do a little something here, Jay. I don't know. You ready to get back into the zeitgeist? You're just in the zeitgeist of the Browns because you went to the Super Bowl, but ready to kind of stir some fire again, man?
There we go, man. That's what I'm here for.
Well, the Cavs are trying to stir some fire going on. They kind of got started a little slow after the All-Star break, Sam, but they're coming along. Currently, the Cavs are the 6th seed in the East, 1 game back of the surging Celtics, which if only there was another Cavs co-host that said that their trade and they're playing really well. I don't know who tried to warn anyone about that.
You were the one saying they were going to trade Jaylen Brown. I told you they wouldn't.
But then I said that I like the trade that they made and that they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, you did.
They're 8-2 the last 10. The Celtics are. The Cavs are 6th seed. We're 4-6 the last 10. Yeesh, John, you and Sam, you and John talked about it in the last pod. You also mentioned me a couple extra times, which I don't know if I appreciated it or
I didn't know you listened
or felt hurt, but it's okay. I did feel the love. The Cavs have won 2 straight. Sam, did the Cavs turn it around? Bickerstaff's kind of ejection and everything else is the Cavs kind of righting the ship here.
They still need to improve defensively. They've clearly slipped in that area. Probably about 2 or 3 weeks before the All-Star break, they did a nice job Sunday against Toronto defensively, but they really struggle on the road. It seems to keep their defense. They get stops a lot when they need them, but it used to be like a whole game thing. And now it's, we saw against Indiana the other night, they got some stops when they needed to, and they're going to have to put in more focus and more effort in that area with Jarrett Allen out. So I don't know. I mean, they've got a couple of tough games, Miami and Chicago on the road. That's tough, especially Miami's coming off a blowout loss at home, and then you're the next team to face them at home. So those are going to be, I wouldn't put too much stock into those games, but what happens after those 2 games is really going to determine, how and where they finish this regular season and how they're seeded in the playoffs. But I think, look, Darius Garland, as we've seen, solves a lot of issues, a lot of ills with the way that he not only could score the basketball, but with the way he's been distributing it, creating offense. So I wouldn't say that they've turned a corner, but I would say that they are close to as good as they were when they were making those, a lot of good winning streaks that they had in the middle of the year.
The Cavs they have a 3-game lead over the Toronto Raptors. That game against them was huge. Another huge development, and this almost led the show until I realized the Cavs raised the prices on loyal fans. This almost, and probably should have led the show, to be honest. Jarrett Allen's injury. It's a huge kind of another obstacle, more adversity for this team to overcome, who just seem like when they find these rhythms, they get, they're come face to face with a kind of a team changing injury. Jeremy, are you sounding the alarm when this Jarrett Allen injury?
I've heard some players say some interesting things. I'm sure Sam saw, I think Kevin Love said that he actually thought the quad contusion was bothering him more than the finger. So it's going to be interesting to see. The team still hasn't given official, they put out there the kind of generic, we'll update you more when more information is available. So they haven't really given a timetable on his return or not. So we'll have to see. Am I worried about it? Sure, I'm worried about it. I mean, he's the top 4 defensive center in the league. Kind of our defense is centered around him and his ability to play inside and to switch off on smaller, more athletic players. So yeah, I'm worried about it. Can they withstand it? We'll see. We don't know. With this whole season, they've surprised us, so maybe they'll surprise us and hold the fort until he's able to get back, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
Sam, is Evan Mobley and Lauri Markkanen and these players just going to slide in, or is it really going to change kind of how they play? We saw a little bit different, kind of like point center work and some pick and roll Garland and Mobley stuff. Is that kind of what we're going to be seeing towards these last couple of weeks here this season?
Yeah, I'm sure, as long as Allen is out, that's the way they're going to play. Obviously they want, we've heard Bickerstaff talking about how Mobley needs to be more aggressive offensively. Well, now he has no choice. Before you could kind of understand he hit that little bit of a rookie wall, for a couple of weeks there before the All-Star break, and then it looked like the first couple of games after. But when Jarrett Allen gets hurt, you're Evan Mobley. This is your time to shine because you're going to get every opportunity. You're going to get more of an opportunity to be the main big guy. So he's delivered. Mobley has delivered in those games when Allen got hurt, and then again against Indiana. So he just needs to keep doing that. Obviously, he's got great ball skills, great decision making. It's all a matter of just, continuing to adapt to the NBA game, as well as not only get more comfortable as in a role as the center, and Markkanen too. I mean, he's had a nice run since he's come back from the ankle injury. Yeah. And, so the guys that are going to need to step up, obviously, Kevin Love, Dean Wade, who's played pretty well lately, and Lamar Stevens, who had a nice game at Indiana. So those guys all kind of run in that front court. Even Cedi Osman a little bit plays some front court. So all of those guys are just they all know this. It's not saying anything new that they all have to step up and play more aggressive, both at both ends, but really offensively, especially.
Chase, let me jump in on that for a second. I thought that it was Evan Mobley's maybe his two best games of the year, the last two games. I thought he looked dynamic on offense. Thought he stepped it up on defense. And, I thought something interesting came from that. I think that, Mobley's obviously got more natural talent on offense than Allen does, not quite as polished yet because he's a rookie. But I think that two-man game with Garland and Evan Mobley could be a little better than the Jarrett Allen because he's a little more dynamic on offense. He can step back and hit the shot that maybe Jarrett Allen can't, a little more athletic, a little longer. You saw on that play where he took the two dribbles of the left-handed dunk. Like, I didn't even know he had that in his game. He looked super athletic. So I'm actually excited to see where those two go from there. And really, I'm excited because it looks like Darius Garland is progressing to the point where he understands beginning of the games, let's get everybody involved, get everybody else their looks. And then when they need me to take over, I'll take over. And that's kind of been the formula, I think, these last two games. Darius let his guys get, and that's a sign of a mature point guard, a guy that knows to get his guys the ball in their spots, let them get off early, and then when the team needs him, to take over. And I think he's done that these last two games. He's looked fantastic. And also, this is as healthy as he's looked in 2 months. I was sounding the alarms earlier that there was something not right with his back because you had to be at the games to see it. He kept, every time he'd go to the bench, they throw a wrap on him. And he looked, and this is dating all the way back to Martin Luther King Day game against the Nets. So I thought these last two games, though, he's looked as good and as healthy as he has the whole year.
Well, he was the talk of the league. He dropped 40 in the win over Toronto. Yep. And then Kyrie dropped 50 and everyone forgot Darius Garland's masterpiece of the game. Which is I think kind of like how the Cavs have gone. They have their moment, whether they're playing well with the Avalanche and something big happens, or they make a trade for LeVert and then obviously the Ben Simmons trade and then this. So this is kind of par for the course for the Cavs here. Is Allen's absence, Sam, is that kind of like the best case scenario for Mobley's Rookie of the Year campaign? Like, there were some talks. What about Scotty Barnes in Toronto? What about Cade Cunningham in Detroit? Is this kind of what Mobley maybe needs to secure that
good take.
that award?
Yeah, I think he had it already. As long as he didn't continue that kind of rookie wall slide type of deal. I think he was going to snap out of that at some point anyway and win the award. But I think this will benefit him in the sense that he's growing up quickly. He's facing more pressure from opposing defenses, opposing big guys. So it'll benefit him as a player for sure. I think he's already got the Rookie of the Year wrapped up. Barnes and Cunningham Barnes has had a nice season. Cunningham's coming on stronger lately, but you look at the Pistons record, they're just not going to give it to him. So I think that if you're talking about the awards strictly, then yes. As far as the team, they just need to maintain doing what they're doing. Toronto has a brutal West Coast trip coming up. I've said this now for a little bit, probably the last week. The Cavs are going to finish sixth in the Eastern Conference. That's where they're going to be. Toronto's not going to catch them. I don't think the Nets are going to catch them. The Nets have 15 games left, and they only have Kyrie Irving for 4 of them. And the Nets don't want to catch them. The Nets want to finish 5 through 8, somewhere in there, so they can ensure themselves that they have Kyrie Irving for more of a series. They don't care. You know what? We'll play 4 road games. As long as we have Kyrie Irving for game 7 on the road, we'll take it. So I think that the Cavs, to me, right now, the way they look, they're going to finish 6th in the Eastern Conference, barring anything unforeseen in terms of injuries or all that, not only with them, but with other teams. And, look, this isn't even supposed to be their year, right? This is supposed to be another year of growth, and that's what it is. And we have to remember that, as opposed to thinking, well, this thing went wrong and this thing went wrong. It's like, no, it's all gone really well and way better than we've expected. So, and a big reason for that is Evan Mobley, who's only going to get better. And with Allen out, yes, it is kind of a silver lining there that Mobley will get more experience.
I wasn't so sure he had it wrapped in the bag. I felt pre-All-Star break of Mobley for sure. But just kind of like the way that he, like you've mentioned, hit that rookie wall. These other rookies have come on. Jay, were you kind of feeling the pressure that he might not be the rookie of the year as well? Or am I the only one?
I agree. I think it's more Cade Cunningham than Scotty Barnes. Yes, the Pistons stink, so that hurts Cade Cunningham, but he looks absolutely fantastic. And he looks like he's going to be a big-time player for years to come. I think Cade Cunningham and Evan Mobley will be the 2 best players out of this draft. I think Scotty Barnes is limited. I think he's a good player, but I think he's kind of close to his ceiling already. I think Cunningham and Evan Mobley have, potential that's through the roof. But as far as rookie of the year, especially if he's the 2nd or 3rd best player on a team that was supposed to be awful and they get the 6th seed, that also scores him some points.
Yeah. Hey, before we jump to the break, I want to talk about this Junkyard Dawg Chain thing that we've been seeing really since the All-Star break.
I like it.
Would you be able to explain to our listeners, maybe if they don't know what that is, kind of what the Cavs have created here and why?
Well, it's really just a award, mostly based on defense, that goes to the guy that has the most dog in him, and plays with the most grit and the most, as JB Bickerstaff loves to use the word, scrap, and it goes to the guy who shows that. To me, it's going to be every game's either going to be Isaac Okoro or Lamar Stevens when he plays. Those 2 are the 2 guys that you can count on to kind of be scrappy, gritty, and go after it. So it's a huge gold chain, and they hand it out after the game to whoever exemplifies that type of approach the most, I guess.
I love it. I love the Lamar Stevens. Jeremy, are you kind of on the same
Jeremy, page? If we had one for our podcast, we'd be giving it to Jeremy every time.
Look, I don't got the talent that you guys have, but I'm scrappy. Okay, I'll get in here and I'll mix it up.
No, you got the grit.
Yeah, but there's rumors floating around that thing costs $400K. Did you see that?
Ooh.
There is a live rumor.
Well, that's where your ticket money went, Jay. They raised the price so they could buy this dog chain.
If it went for the chain, okay, I'm good with it. No, but yeah, I think they actually give it to Mobley the night he had the 2017 and 3. He was only the 6th rookie in NBA history to have 20 or more points, 17 or more rebounds, 3 or more blocks in a game. So, but yeah, I love it. I love that idea. I love the look of the chain. It's cool.
Yeah,
I'm into it. It's obviously the players are excited about it. You see the social media.
I love the picture you see in the locker room. Everyone's excited.
It's cool. And then I think it looks like the guy who has it presents it to the next guy that wins it. That's all. They had Mobley giving it to Stevens. They had Okoro giving it Mobley. Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of one of those things. I think it's a cool little idea, and it really does look like Coach Bickerstaff has been pushing all the right buttons with this team, right? It looks like a team that legitimately likes each other. They legitimately like their leader. They kind of feed off of him. That's why he went and got thrown out, because he could sense the tide was kind of turning, and I think he thought he had to get thrown out that game just to kind of get it back in, reel him back in. So just I've been a fan of a lot of what the organization has done on the court this year.
Well, hopefully the team still has the Junkyard Chain. They've been in Miami for 3 nights, it seems like. So hopefully they still have it. Yeah, they still have it after the game against Miami. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to look at week 21 slate, week 22 slate, and look ahead to the big game against the Lakers. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, this is Mike Voorhees.
And I'm Brian Shaw. No, not the pitcher. We're the Guardians of the Land MLB podcast.
Formerly known as the Swing and a Tribe.
Don't have time to watch 162 games of baseball? We have you covered with recaps, stats, and analysis throughout the MLB season.
Subscribe now to Guardians of the Land MLB podcast and Press Play Podcast Network for all your Cleveland sports analysis.
What's good, everybody? My name is Taylor Vanderbilt, and I'm the host of the 440 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network. On the 440, we talk about literally everything college basketball related. It could be women's, it could be men's, it could be recruiting, it could be the tournament. It does not matter. We cover it all. So check it out. Again, it's the 440 College Basketball Podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
The R&R podcast going to be rocking and rolling with you because football season is underway. College, Ohio State, the Power Fives, the MAC, the Browns. Michael Regai, are you ready to rock and roll with some football?
Kenny, I've been ready. This is our time of year. This is what R&R is all about. We're going to be with you every week. Kenny just said it. Browns, NFL, Ohio State centric. So you got to stay with us all fall and winter long here on R&R.
That's right. The Regai and Rhoda podcast coming to you here on the Press Play Podcast Network. Subscribe now and don't miss a show.
For the Dennis Maniloff Show, I'll tap into my 40-plus years of following Cleveland sports and 30-plus years of writing and talking about them, so as to bring you informed opinions and analysis of your favorite players and teams. I also will monitor the national sports scene and, when warranted, step out of the toy department and into the real world. And I'll always be on the lookout for special guests. By all means, join us.
Hey everybody, I'm Gary. And I'm Jason. Opening cards as a kid, no matter what was in the pack, you always had that stick of chewing gum. Well, it turns out Gary and I opened up a box of 86 Tops last year, and let me tell you, the chewing gum does not age well.
Join us on the Ball Card Show,
the sports podcast for the sports collector.
All right, we are back. Cavs on the break. Sam Amico Hoops, Jeremy Powell, JIA, talking all things Cleveland Cavs here, having a good old time. Let's kind of look at kind of where the Cavs are right now. They've won two straight. They had a huge win over the Raptors, over the Pacers, which I know we just touched on Lamar Stevens before the break. But I think when he plays, like, good things happen, and just really excited to see him kind of come with that big block against the Pacers. Here's the rest of the week 21 slate. Tomorrow or today, and whenever you're listening to us, on Friday, March 11th, they play in Miami at FTX Arena, 8 p.m. Currently, the Heat are above them in the standings. The Heat are the number one team in the East. They got a 2-game lead over the Bucks. So we'll see what happens there. Then they play another back-to-back Saturday at Chicago, who is the 4th team in the East. So they got 2 pretty big away games before 5 straight home games, Sam and Jeremy. So they got these 2 games on the road, and they're home for 5 straight next week and into the week after that. Sam, what are you expecting to see out of this team in Miami and in Chicago? You expect them to to really try to steal a couple wins here?
Yeah, I expect them to try. It's going to be tough in Miami, particularly because, the Heat just got hammered at home by the Suns, and they're going to be back home and upset about that. And they're not a team that's really loses 2 in a row at home very often. So that's going to be tough. Chicago is one team to me that could fade a little bit here toward the end, just because they're so new. And really, with this time of year, it's almost for some teams like Chicago and some of the veteran teams that they're going to be facing, the playoffs have kind of started. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Chicago slide a little bit. That, to me, would be the game that if you're the Cavs, you have a better, more realistic chance to steal. The thing that's bad about that is you're coming off, you're playing in Miami the night before, then you're flying up to Chicago, and you're playing on Chicago's home floor. So I wouldn't be too concerned if they lose these 2 games. The nice thing is, I think, what'd you say, Chase? They had a 3-game lead over Toronto heading into the weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
And Toronto just has a brutal West Coast trip coming up, like at Phoenix, 2 games in LA. They got to play the Nuggets. Chicago has a West Coast trip coming up too. So the Cavs are done with those. Those are really your most difficult stretches of the season. If you ask any team on either coast or in either conference, what's the toughest stretch? Well, it's when we go, to the place most far away from us and play 4 or 5 games. That's always the toughest stretch. So the good news is the Cavs are out of that. And like I said, they have a bunch of home games coming up, but one of them's against the Sixers. I know that.
Yep.
So, I've said this all along, the rest of the year, all they really need to do is win the games that they have circled on their schedule that they're supposed to win. When you're playing the Detroit Pistons at home, or, you're playing the Orlando Magic at home, who they both play during this they play both of those during that 5-game stretch at home. Win those games, take care of those games. And then the ones that are kind of toss-ups, it's okay if you lose those. It's not such a big deal, but take care of the games you're supposed to take care of, and you'll be in a good position and a nice spot, nice seed when the playoffs get here.
Jeremy, earlier in the year, the Cavs won in Miami for the first time since 2010. Is it possible they can win twice in 1 year in Miami?
Well, there was no Jimmy Butler and there was no Bam for that game. So
is that what you're looking up?
No. I was looking at this. I think the next 5 games makes or breaks the season. I think we got to find a way to win 2 of them. We have the Heat, the Bulls, the Clippers, the 76ers, and the Nuggets. Nuggets, the hottest team in the league. Chicago was scuffling, actually. They had lost, 4 or 5, and then they were losing to Detroit late. They made a frantic comeback. DeMar DeRozan went nuts down the stretch, and they won. But I think you got to find a way to win 2 of these games. And then, like Sam said, then you get the Pistons at home a little bit later. You get the Lakers at home, which is an eminently winnable game now. Magic and the Bulls all at home.
The Cavs aren't winning the game against the Lakers. They're not.
I'm with you, Chase.
Oh, come on. 38. The Cavs are what? The Cavs are 38-27. The Lakers are 27-38.
No.
That's wild. No, yeah, they may not, but I think
LeBron's not going to lose to the Cavs in Cleveland.
He did before. I was there.
He's not.
Yeah,
his second trip back.
Bring back Ryan Hollins.
No.
And Baron Davis. Remember?
LeBron just dropped
Davis
50 against the Warriors in a statement game in LA.
They lost to the Rockets. They lost to the Rockets with LeBron.
You don't care about the Rockets?
They're 11 games under. He's better.
LeBron plays and cares when he wants to play and care, and he's going to play and care in Cleveland. And
no, but let me say this about tomorrow night's game though. Jimmy Butler's game time decision. He missed the last game. He's got.
Well, he better play. Injury. He's hurting my fantasy basketball playoffs.
Yeah, he's a game time decision. That'll be big, obviously. So we'll have to see. Maybe we can catch a break there. I would like to see the Cavs get one of these next 2. It'd be nice to get it the first night after having 3 nights off being in Miami, since they flew straight to Miami after that last game. So they've been there for 3 nights. Hopefully, there's not South Beach flu running around.
Right.
We'll have to. We'll have to see. Most of these guys aren't old enough to get into the clubs anyway.
Yeah, they're not old enough. Right?
Yeah. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think this next 5-game stretch will tell you a lot about this team. The Clippers are playing much better than they were. The Nuggets are the hottest team in the league. So it'll be but at least you get the Clippers, Sixers, and Nuggets all in a row at home there. So we'll have to see.
Yep. Sam, how confident are you that we're going to be the 6th seed? You seem pretty matter-of-factly.
I think I will be. Now, listen, this is a team that has surprised us all year, right? But I will be pretty surprised if they pass the Celtics and move up to 5th.
Mm-hmm.
They could potentially move up past the Bulls. But to me, what difference does that make if you're 5th or 6th? If you're 5th, you'll have to play, if you're 5th, you probably have to play Boston. I don't know. So it really doesn't matter. If you're 6th, you probably have to play Philly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be tough either way when you get in.
Dude, the East is a meat grinder, man.
Yeah, the thing that'll be nice for them is if they do, it will make them. It really will put like a feather in their cap if they finish in the top 6 and avoid that play-in tournament. That's the victory right there.
Yeah.
To me, that's the big victory. And then you build off this next year. I just don't see Toronto catching them.
Yeah.
Because
we have a tiebreaker too.
Yeah, the Cavs have the tiebreaker and Toronto has a brutal stretch. I don't think that the Nets really want to catch them. I think that the Nets, if they have their druthers, would probably prefer to play Milwaukee in the first round. So the Nets, it's no big deal. Okay, we get a play-in game. We got to play one extra playoff game. We win that game. And then for every other series throughout the rest of the playoffs, we have Kyrie Irving more often than not. Now, granted, he could be eligible to play in home games by the time this ends. So that might change their thinking. But I think that the Cavs will finish 6th. I really do. I don't think, if the Nets should decide to really turn it up and the Cavs struggle a little bit, I still think that the Cavs could keep pace with the Bulls to finish 6th. So, look, again, it's not about this year for them. This year's been a huge surprise. It's been a huge success. It's about building off this year. So if they did fall down to 7th, it's not a big deal. And
I agree.
I just don't want to see it, but it's not a big deal because this team, they're looking 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that does it for this episode of Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you all so much for downloading and listening. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. And shouts to our presenting sponsor, Aligned Health Center. Love Aligned Health Center. Check that out if you have back pain, neck pain, or any other pain. Check them out. They will check you out, help you out. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. Follow Sam on Twitter at Amico Hoops. Catch all of his works and writings at hoopswire.com and outkick.com for breaking news, insider info. Do not miss out. You can catch Jeremy's thoughts on Facebook. Jeremy's getting antsy. He teased us tonight. He said, I wonder what would happen if I post this on Twitter. I saw that, Jeremy. I
might be trolling around Twitter a little bit these days. We'll have to see.
Oh, no.
You get back on there. I'm retweeting everything you say.
So yeah, let's get it. Let's really amp up the hate.
Jeremy just secured his old Twitter handle. So some trolls took it and Jeremy got it back.
Nice.
Oh yeah. So you never know what's going to happen.
Word on the street is.
Word on the street. Sam, any final thoughts, man?
No, my last thoughts, you were rubbing your face and your forehead like you couldn't wait to go to sleep. So
oh no.
I miss you guys too. I mean, I love John, but this every other week with you guys is difficult because
it's like two families.
Yeah. Going to mom's and then going to dad's. Yeah.
It's like 2 Christmases.
Yeah,
that's what it
well,
is.
before we go, I got to give my Junkyard Dog Award to one of you guys. And I got to say that with the return of 5 hot minutes, Jeremy, you get the Junkyard Award for tonight's episode.
Like I said,
sorry, Sam.
It's sort of like the Try Hard Award for the guy who's not as talented but works really hard. The Try Hard Award.
Sam, you were really close.
Really?
Sam, you'll be the Cavs player in the background who kind of like is awkwardly like posing in the background.
Well, it's if the way you describe that, Jeremy, really does describe how it kind of is delivered amongst the Caps locker room. It's like, Darius Garland's never going to get the Junkyard Award. He's the best player.
Exactly.
Well,
it's like good job, good effort, good job.
Since
good
you
effort.
won, Jeremy, you have to take us out to Mike Breen. So that's what you get for winning.
Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.